Okay, we are live. We are hot.
They kind of look like Ben 10 aliens. Sorry.
Ooh, yeah, they do. This is
Nice. All right,
Nice, nice,
everyone.
nice.
ooh, now it's raining in the
Welcome
store.
to The Way of
Hey.
Kings, Book 1 of the Stormlight Archive Book Club.
The
Woo!
ever storm
It's
is
raining.
coming.
Yeah, I didn't know what to put for the quotes. So I'll just make it something ominous. But this was a very chonky book, even though we only read 1 to 16, which was about 25%. It also included some interludes between those, which we can talk about. The vibes. I guess overall, after coming from Mistborn, what are the things that we like and dislike about Brando Sando's evolution of writing? We'll start with that.
Um, Definitely. I think we talked about it outside of book club, but like it feels like a more true fantasy world. Like there, like I was talking about before. The first page took me 4 days to finally actually read because my brain kept just shutting off from like multiple words that were too big and too like nonsensical for me to understand how to read.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. I like that. I needed a few days for me to process.
Yeah,
For sure.
I liked the like in media res beginning, where he doesn't explain anything pretty much, and you're just kind of
Mm,
like pick it up as you go along. I think that that is like more fun to me. It makes it feel like a mystery book a little bit. And
yeah.
because we've read him before, I know that he's gonna explain what things are eventually, or like I'm gonna get it, so I don't feel too like worried about not like understanding every single line of everything because I trust our
Rebecca
homie.
Yaros.
Yeah, for real. I trust our homie Brando Sando to bring me on the journey. You
Yeah,
know.
he will deliver in the end.
Indeed, he
Yeah.
will. Also, I feel like I always turn the book club podcast into a fourth Wingate podcast.
I mean,
I
we'll
mean,
get to
we're
that
doing it
eventually.
based off of prior experience, so it's only natural
Yeah.
we compare and
We've
contrast.
only read two authors on here so far, so
Yes.
That
it's a
is a good
Uh,
point.
the only thing.
You are right.
I'm gonna go against the grain and say something that well, something that I like obviously is how fleshed out the world is. Like I think Mistborn didn't really talk too much about new animals in that world universe, but in here
Mhm.
we already talk about chulls, about
hmm
how crustaceans seem to be more like I don't think we've read
It's
about
not.
horses.
It's not a very. You do, but it's majority of the animals they talk about tend to be amphibious or like
Mhm.
water creatures or like
Yeah,
crustacean.
crustacean-esque.
Yeah.
But like they do have horses, but like they only talk about it like very little, except
Very,
for
very little.
maybe like Dalinar. They do talk about his like that there's some kind of special
Fancy
like
horse.
race to like his horse is like a special breed that has like some like kind of like mysticalness to it where like you can't choose that breed, they have to choose you
Just you,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely more
Shadowfax. She is
magical.
Shadowfax.
But I will say that I dislike that. I mean, because it's a bigger world, it takes a little bit longer to get to the meat of the
Yes.
story.
Mm.
It's definitely more slow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and uh, it can be a little bit tougher to digest. But again, you can't win them all.
Yeah.
Mistborn was going like boom, 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 boom.
Hmm.
Every chapter was like something new or new revelation. And this, like, feel like there were 4 chapters dedicated to Kaladin being depressed, which
Yeah.
understandable.
And each chapter is like 10 new words I learned.
Yeah.
but but that's the one thing that I dislike a little bit more about the way
Mm.
of things.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like I'm gonna be for real, part one. Like I read through it quick because I wanted to know more, but like a part of me was kind of bored.
Hmm.
like like not in
Mm.
like a not in a bored in a bad way, but it felt like nothing was happening for like a lot of part one.
Yeah, he's like setting the scene, but like he has to
Yeah.
set the scene for every protagonist we're seeing, which is a lot of protagonists.
Yeah, but
So,
like I and like the thing is that like luckily my expectations were kind of set properly that like I wasn't expecting it to, thrill me from the get go because it's like what how long is part one about like
like
in digital,
250 something
11
pages. It's
chapters.
yeah.
been
In like,
physical
yeah,
pages.
it's 11 chapters plus the three little interlude mini stories. Like in digital it's 395 pages. Like that's a lot to be very slow. But like I had my expectations were set properly, so I didn't mind it too much. But I'm like the Shalin stuff. I know there are nuggets of like intrigue there, but I was also like, when is something gonna happen
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Shalin?
Wow. This
I
is very
mean,
interesting because it uh like this book immediately to me, I already like more than Mistborn.
Hmm.
Even though this part didn't
Mm.
feel slow to me. I don't know
Ah.
if it's maybe just that I'm used to reading like Lord of the Rings style of fantasy. Like I don't read that much like
Ah.
modern fantasy, I guess. So all of this, like, even though there was a lot of setup happening, it always felt to be like, I guess not a lot of plot happened, but I felt like things were happening because you're learning so much lore, I guess.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just like my yeah, that's my preference. Like this already sucked me in, and like I liked Mistborn, but this
Mhm.
immediately was like like much
More
easier for me
intriguing.
to read and like to keep coming back
Mm.
to and to read for a longer period of time.
oh, I
Yeah.
think in the long run, it works way better than Mistborn because
Mm.
my one gripe about Mistborn, especially I think maybe not as much during the Hero of Ages, but definitely during the Well of Ascension, is that Mistborn, like what was the first book? The Empire,
Fall,
the
The Final Empire?
Final
Mm.
Final
Empire.
Empire. Yeah, it was basically just had Vin and Kel's viewpoint. And those are the characters that we felt attached to the most. And then he started including other characters' viewpoints
In
in other
Well.
books. But
Yeah.
by that point, we didn't really have the same kind of
Mm.
connection to those characters as we had with Vin and Kel. And Kel unfortunately had, you know, uh been murdered. But in here, we already from the first part, from part one, we already have two important characters. Part
Mhm.
two introduces more characters. So by the time,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but these characters have a really big presence, not only in the Way of Kings, but in future books. So you don't feel like it's boring to
Mm.
read about their viewpoints. You already care about them.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it
Mm.
definitely, I think I like that he introduces like multiple characters right from the beginning. Like I agree, it like allows you to actually build a connection from the get go. But it definitely
Mhm.
does lend itself. Like the downside, I guess, it can seem slower because you are switching more, like from the beginning viewpoints.
Mhm.
But like I have already heard all of these points when people reviewed it on TikTok, when it was getting hyped up on Book Talk. So like I already knew all this going in, so I was like I expected it, so it didn't really bother.
Mm.
It didn't bother me. It definitely just feels a little bit slower because you do have to spend time switching between two people who are not even interacting with each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, if I could
Yeah.
go and change one thing, would be just to decrease the amount of Kaladin depression time. Um, Because it's just like,
Hey,
man, like this.
Hey, look,
let him feel his feelings.
he's on
It's
the up
like,
now. He got through it.
Let my Filipino king feel his emotions.
oh, that's another
Yeah.
thing that I really enjoy about this book. I don't think there's a single white appearing person.
There is
So,
one. There
There's
is
some like
one in the
Shalin
beginning,
is
right?
pale.
oh yeah,
Uh,
you're right. Shalin
So
is pale. You're
that's
Shallon's
right.
pale, so
yeah.
they're at
It
least
has like
half.
orangey reddish hair.
Um,
Pale could be subjective, I guess,
yes,
depending on
true.
the world, but
But
lighter
also
skin.
technically Seth
Oh,
Oh
is
right,
Suzette.
Ben Sullivan.
Seth is technically white, or like white appearing based on the description of him,
Hmm.
because he's like,
'Cause
I think they described his like race of what are they called again? The
There's
Shin,
so many.
and
Christian,
they're
yeah.
described as being short,
Hmm.
like white people and bald. I think were the three things that I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose but the amount is very much decreased compared to other fantasy novels
Oh,
where you
for
can there's
sure.
pretty much everyone is assumed white unless otherwise state, oh, and they're maroon, their chocolate mocha skin, or
Hmm.
their peach
Yeah, that
color or like
that
the
that tall,
food.
dark, that
Yeah.
tall, dark,
Yeah.
and handsome man that looks like what did I say
Oh
before?
my god.
Shut up.
Fuck, Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah, Ben Affleck.
Because that is like when you told me that they aren't supposed to be white, it like even though I read the descriptions, my brain still defaults to like white, like the darkest they could be is a slightly
Yeah,
tanned
it's
Italian man.
tan.
Like
You gotta
like
unlearn the implicit bias.
and
Uh-huh.
but like right now, like I keep just imagining like different Filipinos whenever I see people to help me to help me like decolonize my brain and see the
Nice.
the proper people.
Yeah, that picture that you sent helped from the there
Oh
if you
yeah.
want to look at what people may
Yeah.
look like, there's an official
Yeah, the official
character
TTRPG
yeah,
he released
TTRPG character
pictures.
page.
Yeah.
Some races I feel like we weren't introduced to yet, right? So that's probably like
Yeah.
later on.
Yo, like
Yeah.
straight up, that one dude, that picture, he looks like my cousin's boyfriend in the Philippines, bro.
Wait,
Like,
wait, which one? Which one?
he
I'm looking
straight
at
up
the
looks
photo.
like the default picture of the Alethi in the
Alethi? Oh, the
TTRPG
tall
picture.
dude? Yeah, yeah.
That looks like my cousin's boyfriend. Like
I'm
That's
okay.
that
Your
straight
hilarious.
cousin's
up look.
boyfriend's hot.
He is. Okay, why am I saying this to Twitch?
They don't
Shout
know him.
out
It's
to your
okay.
cousin's boyfriend.
I've always saying out of pocket shit on Twitch.
Wait. Well, what was I gonna say? Which one? The Alethi?
The Alethi, yeah.
Oh, speaking of the Alethi, what do we think about their caste system?
The light-eyed and dark-eyed?
Mm-hmm.
The light-eyed, dark-eyed, and there's like kind
And
of like
the
tiers to
nuns.
them.
The Nod and the Don.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we don't know too much detail about it yet, but that
Yeah.
what it's like from you have to be a certain non to even have citizenship. What is it, like second or third non, I think, of the dark guys,
Yeah.
Something like that.
to
Yeah.
be even as like a citizen. So there's like even like subclasses between the castes where there's like the light eyes and dark guys, but also like within the dark guys who can like have citizenship or you can have no citizenship, and then there's slaves like under
Yeah.
that.
You could
Mhm.
be one of the good ones, as they say.
Yeah, yeah. So there's like a lot of detail in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Which is
think
interesting.
they don't really touch upon it too much since they first
Yeah.
introduced it. So I honestly forgot about the non and the other thing. But it does come up every once in a while. Then I remember, oh, like okay, that's like their like tier list, the tier
Their
caste
tier list?
system. So
Are you a
Their
what
tier list of
are you
yeah.
S
Tier.
I'm an S tier
But they
dark
also said that there's
eyes.
like some you can be mobile within it, like to a degree, or
Yeah.
like if things happen, you can
Yeah,
I
like
guess go
they
up a
talk about
level.
being like you can become a light eye, as they mentioned in
Yeah,
the like the last chapter we
yeah,
read, you know,
like by marriage.
by marriage and like winning glory in a war, the Alethi way and all that.
the Alethi way.
Mhm.
Um
We started to learn about it more in part two because
yeah.
we're getting the perspective of Cal when he
Dalinar,
was young.
Yeah, the
Dalinar.
oh Cal
royalty.
too.
I
And you
love
also get to
Dalinar.
see like a lot of the, Dalinar, Adolin, his son Adolin, Sidious.
That is
Uh
oh,
I
so
think
I
Sadius.
don't
Sadius.
know.
listened to
Stay
the
in the
audio.
sea.
I really like Sidious. For some reason, I love his character. I love a bitch, but like a bitch with a heart.
Remember how I walked into leaving the Margot, I walked into a wall?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
It was listening to the audiobook of this book.
Really?
Wait, really?
you were so
Throwback.
absorbed.
We learned lore.
Yeah, you learned fifth lore. But the audiobook pronounced things so differently than what I had. Like I would
Oh,
so I
wait.
don't even know.
Can you tell us how
Yeah.
the audiobook pronounces some of the names that we've seen so far? Because I want to know how
Oh
it
yeah.
compares to what I have been reading. Because like obviously you just heard me say Sidious, but I don't know if that's
They pronounce it
Sadius?
Sadius, I think.
Sadius.
Yeah, that's what I would
Dalinar,
say. Sadius.
Adolin,
Adolin.
Shalon. Yeah.
Shalon.
Come
Okay, I'll take
on.
that. Shalon,
Okay.
I will say that one I could not figure out how to say in my head.
I was flip-flopping between Shalon and like
Um,
Shalon.
I did
Jasna.
Shalyn because it sounds more like sort of. I
Sharon.
imagine her kind of Celtic-y because she has like red
Mm.
hair and pale skin. So Shalyn sounds more Celtic to
Granted, I
me.
think
Ah.
he said that there is no one official pronunciation
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
people's names for he.
in his in one of his like talks that he gave, he talks about like a book isn't I don't know if he was maybe he was calling someone but he said something like a book's not complete until someone reads it, so any pronunciation is technically
Wow.
correct.
That's some new wave
Yeah,
bullshit. I want
thinking.
the pedantic rules of
I
nerds.
I
I
Either
want
pronounce it
also
concrete
or
structure.
you are a bad person and you don't belong in fandom.
because I also agree. I like my rules, and I want someone to tell me what's right. But, but it's a nice sentiment that a book is not
Mhm.
finished until someone reads it.
The one that I like, I always say like was Mosh. It's actually Moash.
Oh, okay.
That
I can see that. Yeah.
makes sense to me.
It's Moash though, that's why, right?
Yeah. So
Moash. Okay.
Moash.
I always say Mosh, and then when I heard Moash, I'm like, what?
I think
You're
in my head I read it
pronouncing
as Mosh, just like when I'm speed reading, but
I read it Moash. That sounds more fantasy to me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think I
This
read it as Moash if I remember. I
mm,
don't.
this reminded me that Andrea, we got a name drop for the character that also appears in Mistborn,
Yes.
Hoyd.
Lana.
Boyd, yeah.
Even though we
In the
didn't, he's not
interlude.
Name
really involved,
drop.
but we got name drop.
Wait,
Name
I was
wait,
like,
drop.
wait.
awesome.
I wanna this actually perfect segue for one of my theory cooking, theory crafting. The
Theory
chef is
crafting.
in the kitchen.
All
Uh,
right, let's hear it. Let's hear the
I
recipe.
am calling. Andrea, don't say anything because
I'll keep
uh,
quiet. I'll keep quiet.
I'm calling now. The wit is Hoyd.
You think? I
They
really
talk
like the
about
wit, by the way.
they made of one sentence that made me think this was there
Hmm.
like they were talking about the wit and like he always seems to know things that he shouldn't be able to know. I was
Um,
like, yo, that's some Hoyd shit. That's some Hoyd shit
Hmm.
right there. I am calling it now. Twitch.tv/chromewings. I'm calling it now.
We should. Oh, you know
But
what? Too bad I can't have like what do I call it? Like standing predictions? You can write like a thing. All right, let me make a note in my book club notes. I'm gonna make it at the top. And I'm gonna make a section for
Because
like
I
standing
because we
predictions.
hear the name drop of Hoyt in the interlude, and then like maybe a couple chapters after in part two, we see the wit, and they talk like the way they're describing them was like they brought these two things up too close together. Like I don't know if it has to be him, but like it's suspicious. I'm just saying.
it
The
could
chef
be.
I'm not gonna say anything.
the chef is in
Yeah.
the chef is in the kitchen right now.
Okay, so Lewis predicts or
Um,
Lewis believes the wit may be Hoyd. Okay.
or related to him in some way. Like what are they called? Like world walkers?
yeah.
What are they?
hmm Something like that.
Something like that. Like I don't know. Like I'm thinking it's Hoyd because just because like he's the one who keeps appearing in different books. But it doesn't. It might not necessarily be him. Um,
All right.
That
I
makes
did
But
like
sense.
that
yes. Mhm.
they also. I wrote a note of this somewhere. I don't know what chapter it was in, but they did specifically like. Oh, in chapter 13, they specifically name drop the Cosmere as like the name of the universe. And I,
Yeah.
for some
mm,
reason, didn't realize, like, in my head, that's just like what we call it. Like, I didn't realize that was like a like
That's their
in-world
galaxy.
name for the
Yeah.
universe. So that was just interesting to me.
Cosmere mentioned.
Yeah, I thought it was like MCU, like
what
like they don't call it
what
that in the
what is this?
movies.
Some kind of Cosmere?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting to me.
I also didn't realize it was like an in-universe term. I also kind of thought it was the MCU, the DCEU kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought it was like a fan, or not like a fan made name, but like, the outside of the book's name.
I'm reading my notes. So this is chapter 15. It's close to the end of what we were reading, but I just saw that like
Wait, I
I
just
wrote
realized you
another
muted this
banger
whole
line
time.
from Brando Sando. It was when Dalinar is talking about Bridgemen, and he says they were the lowest in the army, and yet they bore the weight of kings. I'm like, oof, he's
Mhm.
so right.
I was like, oh, the
Mm.
weight of
The weight of
kings.
kings.
The
No, no,
way.
not that, not that. Oh, but speaking of the way of kings, so we found out that it's the in book
Hmm.
of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, the pre-chapter quotes I wanted to talk about as well because they're very interesting. It sounds like before like these people died, they were like quoting things, and I think that they're also from the Way of Kings. So I guess some
Mm.
plot,
Mm.
light plot summary. The brother of Dalinar, who was the king, Gavilar, was assassinated towards like the first part of part one, right?
It was like in the
Yeah,
prelude
like the first
or like
chapter.
the first
Yeah.
Yeah,
chapter or
And then
prelude
something.
or
I'm going
something.
back to it. It's been
Yeah.
a while. I don't think I quoted exactly what, but so as he's dying, he tells like his assassin to like write these words down for him or something. And then he tells his brother to what like find the
The most
words that
important words a man can say.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, but that's," and then Dalinar recognizes that as a line from The Way of Kings. And
Hmm.
I guess the chapter quotes on in part 1 all have like random people in I guess this world quoting some kind of like lofty things and predictions while like on their deathbed. So I thought that was kind of cool. But like the way they also wrote it is like that they're like pieces of evidence or like samples
Hmm.
collected, which was like a weird way to put it. So I'm like interested to know like what that is and like who was collecting what.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah.
and those things change in part two. So it's no
Yeah.
longer doing that. Now
Yeah.
it's just like
Like
things
lore
which,
drop.
yeah, or like these I think might be from the book The Way of Kings, like
Okay.
in world is my like I don't know assumption. But or no, there's like some letters of someone writing to someone. I don't know. But it's
We don't
interesting that
know.
they've changed from the first
Yeah,
part.
interesting to see if they change again for the other part of the book.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
Yeah.
that's
And
cool.
Something that also drops, later that I was a fun like way to tie in is that like when we read the king being assassinated, we as readers didn't know that men can't read and
Yes.
oh
write.
yeah. Yeah.
So then later on, when they come back to that, they're like, "Oh, his dirty, shameful secret that like he knew how to write. He wrote this on his deathbed."
Yeah.
Like
His dirty
we didn't.
secret was he was actually gay.
Ooh. He was skilled in the feminine arts.
But they don't know that
Yeah.
Seth wrote that. So then it's another question of like, okay, so do the Shin people know how to read and write, or was it just a him thing? Who
Hmm.
who is gay is the
Who
question.
was
Which one of
gay?
them?
As always, is the most important question, though.
Are
Yeah.
you gay? No, I think it's the Voring people that I mean the Voring
Yeah.
kingdoms
Yeah.
that didn't.
Only the Vorin
Yeah.
kingdoms
Yeah.
like
That's true.
Yeah.
The
technically
government does.
uphold the reading is gay thing. Uh
Mhm.
and all not just read it, it's like reading gay, wearing anything not dark gay.
Yeah.
That one actually is real, like realistic to
Yeah.
real life, to be fair, actually. That one is like low key still a thing that people say. Like not
Mhm.
as much anymore as it was in like the early to mid 2000s, but that one actually is real.
Yeah. And like what? Also like science, right? Like
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Hmm.
it's a feminine art.
Bro, it's gay to be knowledgeable,
Yeah.
apparently.
If it has to do with your brain, it's gay.
Hey, I
Yeah.
mean, at least there's an in-universe explanation to why men are stupid.
That's
Or
true.
why they can't
You're
read.
you're you you right.
Pew, pew,
Uh,
pew. Pew,
But
pew.
also like it's in my head when when Dalinar's talking about like he gets it read to him every night. I'm like that is so fucking annoying. That like I can't
Yeah.
read, like or I'm gay. Like I gotta have someone read to me or
And also from like our modern day perspective, that's very like childish, right? Like
Yeah,
my
it's
mom
strange.
yeah.
comes in every night, reads me a bedtime story.
But it also
yeah.
means that women can just tell men whatever they want, and they would never find out. Like this
Yeah.
Yeah.
book, it could really be a romance, but you think it's I don't know,
She's
Yeah.
really reading her AU version that she corrected the plot
yes,
with.
They're
and
not
no one would
finding
ever
out.
know.
That's
Um,
true. That's another way to look at it.
Also, like, I wonder how they make like contracts and things like that, because are like women just in charge of that, or do they make like, verbal oaths or something like that? Because that would be a lot of
Maybe you,
power.
it could be women are like notaries. You know what I mean? Like
They
Hmm.
they're
like
the
do contracts and stuff.
yeah.
Interesting.
I wouldn't be
Oh.
surprised by that because Dalinar's trusting some random woman to read him a bedtime story every night. So that seems to be very important.
Hmm.
I guess we haven't talked about with Shalon. Is that we're pronouncing it Shalon? Too much, even though she didn't have much happen to her yet. She did get Jasna to take her in, and then
Mhm.
we see Jasna's like I guess family, who is the current king
Mm.
Elhokar. Is that how we pronounce it?
oh, it's
Hell,
however way you want it. But I
Yeah,
think
however we decide
I
to pronounce it.
also forgot how the audiobook pronounced
I
it.
don't know how else you could pronounce
Yeah,
Elhokar.
Elhokar.
I
That's
think
it's kind of
Elokar.
phonetic.
Yeah, sounds right.
Um. Oh yeah, so in chapter 13, I made that note that it has a different type of forward, so that it changes there, and then there's where it mentions the Cosmere by name. Um, part 2 is really taking place on the Shattered Plains, where, um, this is like the Alethi kingdom, right? Is like at war
Yeah.
with the Parshendi
Mhm.
about their king being killed in the prologue, and yeah, I really like the wit. I said he can out savage me any day. And then in here is also where Kaladin's story kind of like intercepts with Dalinar's, because they're not in the same war camp, but they're all on the Shattered Plains fighting the
Yeah.
same war, if that makes sense.
I think they noted he's in
That's
Sadius's
Yeah.
Sadius, yeah.
war camps.
Hmm.
And then Kaladin also has an interesting windspread with him, Syl, and she's very interesting. To me, she's like a Morgana of like the MC, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
She's like, or even like in
she's
Metaphor,
that
where we have like
little
our
fairy.
fairy
Yeah,
Gallica following us
Galaga,
around.
yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is like
Hey,
very like,
listen.
yes, very similar, but except she doesn't really know much, and she's just gaining knowledge by the day, which is interesting. So I really want to
Mhm.
know like what her deal is too, because like what the hell? She's like
Instead of
a
uh,
sentient
tell,
windspread.
instead of telling you to go to bed, she tells you not to jump off a cliff.
Yes, which is equally as good.
Yeah, they're doing the same job. Uh,
But yeah,
yeah,
so we
sounds
have a
interesting.
lot of characters in this that we got introduced to. I wonder if we're gonna be introduced to more new ones. I feel like we kind of have a stacked cast already, so
Mhm.
for this book at least.
Hmm. I think there's not. I mean, if you look at like, I look at the ahead at the title pages for the parts, and it shows you, who's going to be whose perspective is in each part. Um, and I don't think there were too many new names. It kind of revolves around the same people with then like sprinkling of other perspectives
Mhm.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
will
would say
say
this.
oh yeah, go ahead, Andrea.
Oh no, I think Kaladin is the main viewpoint of this book.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, because
uh,
on the summary it says his name, and I
yeah,
think Shalon.
and yeah, we'll mostly hear about him. The next one is mostly Shallan, and then three is mostly Dalinar, from what I remember.
Oh,
Because
okay.
that makes sense because it's called Oathkeeper, right? The third one,
Yeah.
and that's a
Yeah,
Oh.
sword.
another name drop of title
Yeah.
drop.
Also, I love the concept of the shard blades so
I was
much.
It's
waiting for you to
cool,
Oh
mention
yeah.
it.
my fucking god. I love a personalized sword. Like
Yeah.
especially when it's something like summoned from your spirit or some shit like that. Oh god, that's the most anime shit ever. I
Yeah, it's
love
like a
it.
video game thing.
And when
You
you have
Yeah.
the
summon the weapon
shard
from
Yeah.
blades
within
as
you.
well to go with it. Oh my
Yeah.
Yeah.
god.
Very cool.
And
Like
the fact that
I
they're always like misty and wet when they appear too, as if they just like came from
yeah.
like the storm or something.
And I like the kind of like the juxtaposition between Dalinar and Elhokar's shard blades. Like what was it? Dalinar's is like very water themed. Uh
Mhm.
and Elhokar's is like the sun. The descriptions were so cool too. I also googled them immediately after reading the descriptions to make sure I imagined it correctly.
Uh,
There's apparently an official design for Dalinar's shard plate.
Really?
I'm gonna send it
mm,
over.
Ooh.
This is the first I ever see it too.
To me, I kind of just imagine it as like more ornate swords, but I'm not, I
Oh,
think, paying too much attention to detail when it comes to imagining the swords and them fighting.
oh, when it comes to descriptions of armor or swords, I like stop reading to make sure I have the clearest mental image of what they're talking about.
Damn, that sword is thick.
Okay, yeah, wait, this is exactly what yeah, I saw this online too. It's so cool. I
Oh,
love his
whoa.
sword so much.
I like
Like
the
the
like overlapping plates of the armor is really cool.
mm. Also, oh, the description of when they put the faceplate down is so cool to me too. Like, oh god, like the shard plate and shard blades are so cool.
Like,
I was nerding the fuck out
yeah.
when they were describing it.
Oh man, you're gonna love the magic system for this world then.
Oh god, dude.
Nice.
I do
You,
also like that Dalinar is the only one that like doesn't paint his plate. So like he just
Yeah.
leaves it like the metal. He's like, oh yeah, he's like for real,
He
you know?
doesn't need
Yeah,
anything
Dalinar,
like
Yeah.
extra.
the
Doesn't need
black
to paint it
thorn.
red or what the
Yeah,
fuck
he's so
ever.
good he doesn't need to be intimidating the enemy. The shard plate does it itself.
Yeah. And he respects the plate, you know?
Respect.
Oh, that was another interesting thing is in the beginning when we first get Seth's perspective and the way that now we know, I guess, the Shin people, because at the time we didn't know what his race was, but the way that they like think of stone versus the way that the Vorin nations do, that they have like a reverence respect for it. Like he was really upset by the fact that like the floor was stone and he was walking on it and things like that.
Mm. I don't even remember
So,
that part because I read it a while ago.
yeah, so I'm interested to get to know the like yeah the religions, I guess, or the other like cultural aspects
Yeah,
of the
because we really only
non-Vorin
been with the
nation.
Alethi, right? And
Yeah, yeah, and the what's the other one that's next to it?
I need to see a map again. Hold on.
Vedin? Is that the city? It's
Vedin,
the
yeah,
named
Ve-
Vedin.
Venin
the
Vorin.
wait, Vedin, like the
The
Shallan?
country. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the race, right? Because it's I kept this is a thing that I like about fantasy books is the maps, and I kept flipping back to the maps like all the time. Uh, Jakaved is the name of
Jakavet,
like
yes.
the country. Vedin is like the I think the name for like if you're from the place. Or Vedinar is that capital city. I guess not the capital, but a
I'm
city.
looking at the map again so I can see.
Yeah, it's quite a big spot. It definitely feels bigger than the dominances of
Yes.
Hmm.
Mistborn.
Yeah, and there's more like I mean there are nations because of the Final Empire. There it was just all one. It was just one empire. Whereas here there are different countries and cities within.
I like Carbranth because it reminds me of Minas Tirith,
Mhm.
but if it was
Oh.
facing the sea.
Mm. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, it is because it's like ringed, sort of, right?
Yeah, and it's like
Like up the
made into a
mountain.
mountain. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that was fun. I like the Phelan people so far. They seem like
Mm.
fun, jovial pirates, or like
With their weird
seafaring
eyebrows.
people with those crazy eyebrows.
Wait, how long are they? Like, because every time they like say
Feet
like
long.
they're
You
so
can tuck them
long that
behind your
they
ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like mad long. How do they upkeep them? I
In my
wonder.
head, I was thinking of it like a Fu Manchu style
Mhm.
mustache, but on your
On the
face,
eyes. Yeah.
on the eyes.
I assume that they just grow like hair on your head where like it grows sort of until you cut it. I mean, I guess it eventually like, there's a terminal velocity, but uh I assume it's just kind of like that.
Okay, sorry, still looking at the map. I had to look at the colored one because the uncolored one that I had in my book, it makes it like kind of hard to see the borders.
Mm,
But yeah, they're kind of like all the countries are almost like lateral to each other. It's like an island that got like sliced in sections.
mm-hmm.
What else? Talk about. So we ended around. Oh, okay. So one thing I still have a question on, and I'm not sure if it was mentioned, so someone definitely let me know. So do we ever find out why Paladin was betrayed? So we saw him as like a cool soldier, and he had like a shard
In
blade, I
Amaram's,
think.
he didn't have
Yeah.
one.
He didn't have one, but he was really a really good fighter, basically.
Yeah.
And he it sounds like he forwent his training as a surgeon that he was supposed to do, that his father had mentioned to become a soldier in, what was that guy's army? Something with an A.
Amaram.
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 And he's
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
other high princes?
He's not a high prince.
Yeah.
He's
He
a
owns
bright
land.
lord.
He's like a land owning noble, from what it
Okay,
sounded like.
so he's still up there in terms of like rank, but something happened right now. He's all of a sudden like a slave, and then we get his depressive episodes. But we didn't exactly find out what happened yet, right?
Not
Mm-mm.
yet, no.
Not
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. He
Yeah,
just
so
mentions
that's
that
like
Amaram has betrayed him, and that's why he's a slave.
yeah, I'm very interested to know like what the hell happened for his like whole life to get turned around like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
I think at the end of his like section in the beginning where he's still Khalid the Storm Blessed
Yeah, the
in the
storm
army,
blessed.
doesn't he like tries to kill a Light Eyes, right? Like some Bright Lord, like the opposing army Bright Lord or something, but then like they had a shard bearer, I think, and they didn't know or something like that. Like there's something where he was they mention it briefly at the end of
Yeah.
that, but then they don't go into like a lot of detail about it.
I think
Hmm.
the last thing we see of him is that like young guy, like is about to get hit by some kind of light eyes shard bear, and then Cal comes to protect him, and then he's a slave.
Yeah.
Mm.
Jump cut.
Hi
Oh, hi
everyone.
Geneva. She's in chat.
I know you're wondering why I'm here.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to our book club. What else? What else should we go about? I mean, there's a lot. I guess the one thing I'll say that I have like a challenge with this book is because there's just so much new lore that we're going through. I'm trying to make a note of new words and things, but sometimes like I feel like I'm definitely gonna forget certain words or phrases or things that happen just because there's a lot in this book. And I don't want to forget it when I try to like make my own connections later on. But at the same
Mhm.
time, it is Brando Sando, and seeing how he handled Mistborn, I really put a lot of faith in him that he'll tie up any loose ends and bring information back around, so it kind of makes sense.
Mhm.
But where it's like a lot of front loaded stuff, so right now I'm just like, oh my god, I'm like juggling a lot of information.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and I assume like that when books are written like this, like as a reader, you're not really meant to be able to hold all of that in your brain and like
Hmm.
really remember it going forward. Like I trust Brando to
Mhm.
refresh us on the things that are relevant when they come up in some way. Because like that would be, yeah, that's just
That would be
crazy.
what the good author thing to do would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to be
And
like,
I'm
oh yeah, I'm sure they remember this like thing that happened in the first chapter.
Oh yeah, another thing I had a question about that was not explained yet is Dalinar also doesn't remember his wife that apparently
Yes.
died. So like
Yeah.
they didn't
Mm,
explain why like her memory got wiped from him, and I guess him specifically, I think.
Yeah, because they said like if someone says her name, it's like he doesn't hear. It's like gets murky.
Yeah, so
mhm.
that's some magical hypnosis thing. I have no idea. And I'm like,
Yeah.
does that only happen to him? Like, did that only happen to him, or is that like a religious thing, or like if your significant other dies, like you try to forget everything? I'm assuming maybe like the pain of losing her was too much, so he's like, yeah, let me just forget all about her. And now he's just like comes up empty anytime he thinks about his past wife. But that's like
Mm.
also interesting. I'm like what kind of like magic or like how does one just like forget about someone or be made to forget about a certain person?
Yeah, I was trying to wonder if it was something magical or if it's just a representation of trauma or something like that.
Yeah,
A little
a
bit of
Especially the way it
both
was,
metaphorical
of that.
representation.
yeah, the way it was described sounds like magic, but
It
Yeah.
does,
who
but
knows?
then also, like I don't know, man. Could be.
That's true. Could be. But it seemed like, yeah,
It
like
definitely
other
seemed
people
that it
can say
definitely
it, but
seemed magical.
Yeah, unnatural.
Because like
yeah.
yeah, he was saying that even if he sees a picture of her, it's like he can't clearly see her in the picture either.
Yeah. It like seems like the thing that would be done as like a punishment for something,
Hmm.
like that maybe the wife did something,
It kind of
I don't
reminds
know,
me of
heretical or something and
that
was
was it
outcast.
what's that called, Black Mirror
Black Mirror.
episode where you could like block people, and like they will always just see you as like a blank image and can't hear what you're saying.
I like block someone in
Oh,
real life.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, I don't like you. I just want to tune you out completely.
I don't think I've seen that episode.
Yeah, like yeah, like because everyone has like a chip in their brain or something, so you could actively block people so that you don't see them and they don't see you.
Right?
But I'm curious to kind of learn about what also happened to like what in the past, or more about what Sidious and Dalinar's like love-hate frenemy relationship that they got going on.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. They have
Like
like a common goal.
yeah, they have a common goal. Like they're not on opposing sides, but they do not fuck with each other.
Hmm.
Yeah, but they gotta protect that boy.
They like the king.
Oh, but it was cool to learn that the decoy plan was that was like Sidious himself.
Mm-hmm.
Sadius?
Whatever you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got sort of the reveal of like he seems like a bumbling idiot, sort of, but like he's got, he's a lord for a reason. He's got some stuff going
Hmm.
on up there, which is
Hmm.
good.
Yeah, his
Uh,
gears are always turning.
mhm. I also liked in general that we get like because we got Paladin's perspective on this war first, and the way that like the common soldiers are treated, or I guess not even the common soldiers, like because he's a slave, treated terribly. Um, and then only later on do we get the like perspective of war from like the people leading it,
Hmm.
Hmm.
that are all like interested in like glory and things like that. That only like applies to them. But I like that we started with like the bottom up view of like how terrible it is, which is I think which is contrary to most fantasy,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
like
Yeah, because
lots of fantasy
fighting is
has
cool.
more. Yeah, fighting is cool and it's all about like glory and honor and like bravery, but it's like, yeah, you only get to have those things when
Yeah.
like you have a cool sword and like a magic horse,
Yeah, and even
uh
when
and
they do
bridges to cross the
even when
plains.
they do describe like many people dying, it feels so detached usually because you're only seeing it from the perspective of like the cool people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, meanwhile,
We're in one of those
Kaladin.
bridge runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first bridge run he has to do, and he's like, I didn't. He basically says something along the lines of, I thought life already like handed me the worst possible thing ever, but then it gave me Bridge 4,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
which
always a deeper hell.
yeah,
But
and
hey,
he's in
he's
there.
reborn and he's gonna make sure Bridge 4 makes it to the end, guys.
Yeah. That's so like anime sports team mentality.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
was.
I was like,
Especially
oh,
like the
training arc.
especially when like everyone
Yeah.
doesn't believe that like anything's gonna change and they just all watch him training by himself. I'm like, this is the most
Yeah,
animation I ever read.
Yeah, it's like when
absolutely.
Mulan makes it to the top of that pole and everyone's just like
Yeah.
watching her.
Yeah.
They're like, wow,
Oh,
this guy's just hauling lumber back and forth on his day off because he's crazy.
but
I take it
he's
back. I don't think like Brandon Sanderson, if he ever edits this book, should get rid of the Bridge 4 manga arc. I think that he should get rid of the traveling to the Shattered Plains arc.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
mm,
he's just
I
in the
agree with
cart.
that. That was a bit much. Like that I didn't really care for.
Yeah, like just show. I mean, we still have questions as to how he became a slave, and they weren't answered while he was in the slave caravan. None of the characters in the slave caravan mattered anymore, I
Hmm.
think.
mhm.
Yo, Peter with
So,
the posture check. Everyone crack your backs.
oh, I'm
Oh
laying
man.
on the bed. But thank you.
Good enough.
Oh, I'm already straight backed on my chair, 90 degrees.
Nice.
I am now.
Thank you for the posture check. But we
I
also
did
met
my
Syl, I
physical
think.
therapy exercises earlier, so.
Nice. I think Syl was introduced during his like cart depression episode, right?
Hmm.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the
true.
only
Just
thing
shorten
that
it.
really carries over.
Yeah. But the fact that we didn't see anything but the inside of a cart for like however many pages was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could include it just like maybe 2 chapters less.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like in the spirit of like trying to save the publisher some money in printing the books.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Oh, I also am interested to find out like what is up with Kaladin's like luck, where
Mm.
Yeah.
he's like
Yeah.
has some sort of
Storm blessed.
like, yeah, he's storm
Hashtag
blessed.
blessed.
Like where did that hashtag storm blessed? Where did that name come from? And like, what does he have, like godly favor? Is he like the descendant of somebody or whatever that makes him have these things? Because even like it extends even to him on Bridge 4, right? Like he's in the front and
Yeah.
everyone else dies, but he's the only one that doesn't get hit by an arrow.
I honestly
Mm.
Um,
forgot, so it's not. I'm not trying to influence anything. But Sil mentioned that she's been watching Kaladin for a long time,
Yeah.
even
mhm,
before she had a corporeal
consciousness.
form. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
if her presence always like, maybe an arrow was coming and she moved it a little to the right with her power
Mm,
or something like that. And in that case, he was blessed, but he wouldn't even know
Hmm.
Yeah.
why. I'm just theory crafting right here. Theory cooking.
yeah, that's true. She is wind, and that's part of the storm.
Yeah, I want to know her deal and like why, because she doesn't even know why she became all of a sudden.
Yeah, sentient.
Yeah. The interludes. What did we think about the interludes? Let's hop there for a bit because that was between part one and part two. Other than the Hoyd being mentioned in the first interlude about Ishik, I don't really know. Like, it kind of just gives us like small glimpses into other parts of Roshar, I think.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Zeth Sun Villano.
Yeah,
Truthless of Shinovar. Yeah, I forgot his like name, his full name.
yeah. His title has so many things
Yeah,
that
he's
we don't
also a
know
Surge
about
Binder,
yet.
which we don't exactly know what that means yet, but I'm sure we'll find out.
I assumed it was the powers he was using in the preludes,
Hmm. Lashing.
the lashings and all that.
Hmm.
Which I really love that whatever the hell that was.
Whatever it was, I liked it.
I need to know more about the magic already. Like
Yeah.
I want to see some more.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I was surprised, I think, when that like it didn't feature anywhere else ever yet so far,
Yeah.
because like I feel like when I mean, he did this in Mistborn of just like introducing us to like how the magic works. But then it
Mhm.
like in Mistborn, it's a thing that is a focal point of the book and continues. And so when
Yeah.
I read it, I was like, oh yeah, here's how the magic works, cool. And then just
Never bro.
nobody else can do this.
Yeah, cause even cause I read Warbreaker, right, in between
Mm,
our books, and like when he introduces the magic system from the beginning, you already start seeing it like almost immediately. So when yeah,
Hmm.
since it's already part two, like in the halfway point or whatever, or like quarter point of part two, I'm like, why have we never heard of a lashing again?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
guys, it's you know how in the romance books it's they
Slow
blue
burn.
ball you? Yeah,
Oh.
it's well that.
Damn,
Slow burn magic.
slow
Yep, slow
burn.
burn magic.
You know what? I'm a fan of the slow burn. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's a you'll we'll get it. But honestly, the moments when oh my god, I can't wait for us to talk about these moments. Um, they're so hype, so hype.
Yeah,
Um,
I can only imagine because like when they're actually in the action, bro, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like standing up reading.
Standing
Like
up.
Pacing.
when Dalinar went X Games mode, locked in against the fucking chasm fiend or whatever, and just
Yeah.
catches a claw, bro. I was sweating.
no, it's gonna be, and but you know, it also makes it so that magical beings are even more magical because no one else has magic in this world.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I do
Hmm.
like that. It truly feels like magic to the
Yeah.
even to the people.
Very true, very true. I'm just scouring my notes. We're at the 1 hour mark, so that was good. Good discussion. Like we said, a lot of stuff was laid out before us, and I guess we'll make some connections as we read the rest of the book. Um oh yeah, so on also in the last chapter, and this is like another note that I have, wondering if this will be brought up again. Those like it's a flashback of Kaladin and this girl I guess he has a crush on, or the girl has a crush on him, Laurel?
Hmm.
Laurel? I don't know.
Mm.
And he's still like an apprentice to his surgeon father, but they have some like rocks that have designs on them when wet. So I'm like, some special rocks. I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
I
Oh
actually don't
yeah.
remember them.
When I imagined it, it was just like in the way that
They were scratched up or something.
our no our rocks like in our world sometimes just they look very dull, but when they're wet you can see like the quality of the stone, like the striations or like the
Hmm.
structure of it. So in my mind it was just that, it was just when you get a rock
Yeah,
wet,
that's what I was
but
like
I don't know.
imagining. But I was like, it's like, why would he mention this
Yeah, why is he so
specifically?
into rocks?
And it's about rocks, so I'm like, stone stuff. Like the like, I guess in Mistborn it was metals. This book is a lot about stone and rock. So I was like, maybe these rocks have a special characteristic to them.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
Like what
going
is
back to
that
the
kids see in the rock?
epicness of the shard stuff, where they mentioned that the shard blades sever the soul itself, like it can cut through rock and it can't cut anything else, but it'll sever its soul. I'm like, wow, that's like
Hmm.
that's a magic sword right there. It's not even a sword, it's a magic sword.
Magical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything living, it doesn't actually cut physically. It
It
cuts
goes through them, but then they
like
just die.
metaphysically.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool.
And like they say, like when you cut, you can't feel it anymore, and it like will just die basically.
You killed its essence, its soul. But yeah, I was
Oh,
like,
and
well,
then their
that's like
their
so
eyes
game.
burn
Yeah,
out.
yeah, they like smoke out. Right? Is it
Yeah.
smoke or they burn?
I think they
I
turn
think
into
with the
smoke.
chasm fiend, they said it kind of like dark smoked out or something. Like their
Yeah.
soul left them or something.
Yeah. The eyes. So like clearly, eyes also are important. We got the dark and the light eyes. We got
Mhm.
the eyes turning
And
into smoke.
they do talk about in the way like part of the reason why Way of Kings is not popular is there's specific excerpts talking about how dark eyes actually are higher than light eyes too, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Did they?
Kaladin
Mhm.
hates light eyes, understandably,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
but
To be fair,
Fan-
majority of the light eyes we've met have all been bitches. So
Yeah.
and the whole thing about why the light eyes are on top, there's like I know it's fantasy racism, but there's like an explanation to the fantasy racism within the magic system.
Yeah.
Mm.
I assume
Mm.
that there's a historical reason that we hopefully will find out sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually.
Yeah.
And how many books are gonna be in the Stormlight archive altogether? He said
Uh,
10.
10, and he's on
10,
5
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Or
Yes,
he's
he's only
what? He's
That's
he's
writing
been
halfway.
6.
published, right?
Wait, actually,
Yeah.
let me see.
I think it's
Because
supposed to be
maybe
10. And I
maybe
think
he
yeah.
Yeah.
Stormlight archive.
I have that page bookmarked.
It says 10 books are planned in this series, broken down into 2 sets of 5 books each.
Oh, okay, so the
Okay.
first set is done.
Yeah.
Nice. Damn, how old are we gonna
Yeah.
be when Brando finishes this?
Stormlight Archive 6 is estimated to be 2032.
What? 7 years?
I'm t-
Maybe we'll have caught up
Bro,
by then.
Brando
We'll
Sando
definitely have caught up.
is about to discover fucking Ferrochemy to live forever. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh man. Well,
Apparently,
we made good work with this book, I think.
the second half will focus on. Oh, well, actually, no, I don't want to know because then I don't want to know who survives.
oh
Oof,
yeah,
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 you don't
yeah.
want to know
Mm,
whose plot armor ran out.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point. Or I don't know, maybe it's a big like time jump like Mistborn is.
Mm.
It was only
Maybe.
a time jump of what, like 2 years?
Wait, what?
Uh,
Wait.
When it turns to
Mistborn?
wax and wane.
Oh no,
Oh,
it's
oh,
like
I
a
guess
whole new
oh,
it's a
okay.
new era,
Oh,
right?
okay. I thought you
It's
meant
yeah.
between books that we
Yeah,
read. I
no,
was
no,
like,
no.
oh.
Like between
Yeah,
eras.
that's a totally different like era. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, because like theoretically speaking, end of Mistborn 1, they're still in like I guess you could consider like the
Medieval times.
but
like
yeah.
Yeah.
medieval-ish times, and then
Now
they
we
go
have
into
guns.
Western. Yeah, we got cowboys.
Guns.
And guns.
I mean, for the power system being able to control metal, guns, that shit gonna be hype.
Should do like glass bullets. No, that wouldn't work.
Just shrapnel.
Diamond bullets.
Yeah. Bullets.
In this one book I'm reading right now, like instead of metal, some people use obsidian to make stuff.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We saw that in Mistborn too. They had the obsidian like
Oh yeah,
points
true.
and
Yeah. So
Oh,
stuff.
it could be
Yeah,
that.
rock.
the glass knives too, right? Or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it might and it's probably gonna be some type of like obsidian, like where it's like very sharp and but it's
What
like
if it's just like concrete?
they're
It's
just
just
chucking
straight up rocks from the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna know what's up with the rocks in this book.
because
Why
with
this
it could
very
but if they're
rocky?
Yeah.
using but I wouldn't be surprised if they do use metal in some fashion because when you think about it, they could essentially use their powers to just make like what are those called? Gauss rifles? Like use their powers to basically like
What is that?
accelerate. Well, I think a Gauss rifle is using electromagnetism
Oh,
to
like a Gaussian
accelerate
rifle? Yeah.
to accelerate a bullet.
Like a
But
railgun.
like a rail gun basically, right? And
Yeah.
like but like you would use your allomancy to do
Mm.
essentially the
Like
same thing.
charge it up and store it. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
So my book, my Hero of Ages, has like the preview, the first chapter of Alloy of Law on the back of it, or of Alloy of Law, the next Mistborn book. So I have read that, and it talks about what they do for guns, like in the first chapter.
Okay. Okay.
Nice. That was our burning question. Brando Sando knew how to answer it.
Also, we found a book series to read in between part 1 and part 2 of Stormlight Archive.
Hmm.
We did?
Yeah, I mean, aren't we gonna do the Alloy of Law?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Eventually.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about something else. I don't know why. I was like, we did? When did that happen?
We're gonna read all of A Court of Thorn and Roses. I'm kidding.
That book
Like
must be
she
short
had
compared
like
to these.
17 different like series
I want to read
within
the
that.
winged sex, the flying sex. I
I
don't
don't
mind.
know if I do. I would read the first one to see.
I'm gonna be for real.
As
The
a
first one's like
taster.
the worst
Feeler.
one too.
Okay, well,
You gotta put in the effort, Ren.
I
If
don't
you want,
think I want to. There's so
if
many other
you,
things I would rather read.
yeah, we should read like
Some
literature.
we should read something good.
Literature.
I like
Yeah,
I like I'm happy we're reading these books because I think like my brain was actually getting dumber reading these like
you should just read Otome Isekai if you like romance, Lois, and you want to like.
I need a break from all of that. Like
No,
my
no, 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 no,
He had
no.
too much brain rot.
Otome
like
Isekai is romance, and it's I think better than. Well, it's definitely better
no,
than Fourth Wing.
I believe it's definitely better, but I feel like it's still in the category of brain rot.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's still brain rot, but it's enjoyable brain rot.
Oh, are
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
reading Song of Achilles now, Lewis?
I'm reading a Sword of Kaigen because I already had started that, but I'm gonna read the
Mm,
Achilles book right after that one because that one's short too, so I can read that one pretty quick.
yeah. I saw it on a story graph. I was like, oh, he's reading
Yeah,
it.
I gotta update mine. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, my updates are so random. It's like only when I remember. So sometimes it'll be like 10% to like 50% because I keep forgetting to update.
I don't usually use the like progress feature. I just like will say when I started something, when I finish something.
Wait, how
Mm.
do I add people on Storygraph?
Oh,
I think
There's
we're all
in the
friends,
like,
right?
well, we are. Andrea didn't have an account
Oh,
before. On the like whatever community tab, the one that looks like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
You can search for usernames or whatever.
Oh.
Here, well, you just tell me yours and I can add you, and then I have Lewis and Miana.
Oh, it's ANDINE 95. Same as my Venmo. Well, I just gave whole Twitch my Venmo. Whatever. It's just
send her money.
mean,
Send her money.
you said send me money,
yeah, send me
please.
money, please. I am poor, please.
Here's my Cash App.
Yeah.
I followed you.
I also
Thank
followed you
you.
right now.
Okay, yeah, I'll look it up.
Fine.
All right, I think this is a good stopping point. So we'll discuss off stream how much to read in the next part and when our next book club is. Go on my
Yeah.
story graph, and we'll catch you next time for book club. I'm very excited to read this. Also, I'm very glad we're reading it with the book club because I would have a lot of things to talk about and like questions to air while we read. So
Mhm.
Hmm.
nice. All right. Well, peace out for now and see y'all another time. We'll probably stream tomorrow because it's MLK Day, no work. It also looks like the
No
snow kind of
work.
stopped or it's like very light, so that's good. Hope everyone has a good weekend and we'll see ya tomorrow.